I was sorting the pieces I had left over, and I had a lot of gray tiles, especially 4x1 tiles. So with those tiles, I decided it was finally time to do the update I've been meaning to do for years now on the Sanctum Sanctorum. So here's the old sanctum. I've always liked the architecture on the outside of the sanctum, but my biggest problem with it always was that there's a faux third floor that's actually just 2 floors combined. So I knew I needed to fix that and make it 2 separate floors. My other issue is I have it situated at the front of my city display, and the back of it just looks really, really bare. So I needed to add some detail there. Other issues I had with the build were the interior. It was really cramped. There's this real awkward space at the top of the staircase where you can't really do anything. The original door by the bookshelf just kind of opens to nothing. There's no way to get to it. Just kind of weird. Also, no staircases to go to the 3rd floor. In my update, I'm going to address all those issues. So I started off in Bricklink Studio, following the directions, rebuilding the original to the point where changes started. I intended to do my entire new design in Bricklink Studio, but I got to a point where there were so many changes, I said, this is just going to be easier if I do it by hand. Here's a little bit of my first attempt at the build. I got the first floor pretty much done. I wanted to make the exact same kind of curve that the other side has, but I didn't have the pieces for it in stock, so I had an angled panel sitting around, so I incorporated it here and used the siding tile details that the other 2 sides had along the entire back. I liked how it was going so far, but still having issues with that staircase problem, and I knew the sliding walls would not work with the bookshelves as they originally were because, again, it was just taking up too much space for such a narrow pathway. So I went back to the drawing board and started over. And this is the final version that I came up with. As you can see, I extended all the sides so that they were 6 to 7 bricks tall, the equivalent of an 8-stud tile. The building technique of using the brackets on the side to switch the geometry and be able to connect with the regular plates that the original build had is pretty genius, so I continue that for both floors, and it really helps keeping those side details in place. And as you can see, the alley is much more detailed and blends in a lot better now. I kept all these 3 pullable walls exactly the same. So here's the one that I put in the back, taking it right off. We still got that little passageway there. I put 2 more double brackets on each side in the corner here. Didn't have enough of the regular colors, so I put some placeholder color pieces. And after I made this video, I found ones that better matched. On the 2nd floor, some more snot details, and the 3rd floor still pretty plain because of the sliding feature that I wanted to keep, but I added as much detail as possible there. And here at the top, we got Mordo fighting that little monster. Okay, now to get a better look inside of the 1st floor. So we still got that removable staircase piece. Enter in the front doors, up those stairs. So right at the top, I pushed the door over by 1 stud and then added 2 more studs from the door to the back wall to give a little bit more space, and then pushed the interior wall over towards the door by 1 to give that front room a bit more space and have some breathing room by the stairs. With a little bit more space between the doors and the stairs, I added a little circled detail into the tiles that is there in the movie if you were to watch the shots of the Sanctum. And I made the back 3 studs wider and have the layout make a lot more sense. So there's the little secret area in the back. That's a bit smaller. Here we go. And you can see the gems still there. And then for the little closet area under the stairs, I had these little tiny doors from a really old set. I think it was a fire truck from the 90s. There's that little tesseract hidden inside of there. And then we've got a little kitchen area with the fridge and a pizza. And right here in the middle, we've got this Leaning Tower of Pisa painting that's from the Galileo GWP. I have a whole bunch of gifted purchases that I haven't opened from when I buy sets, and when I need parts and I see the gift with purchase has some of the parts that I need for a build, I'll break into it. So I broke into the Galileo one when I was doing the 3rd floor of the Avengers Mansion and still have most of the pieces left over, and they all fit in with this set. And as you can see on the left side of the stairs, I added a door to get into the back area because the only way to get into there before was to leave the building, go outside and enter, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. The only thing I really had to modify around the stairs was just those black beam placements had to change because of the way I changed the left side to make room for the door. The right, really all the same. You can see there's a gap over where the right side of the back hallway is because that's where the wider part of the balcony on the second story is. I dropped everything down to the level of the top first set of stairs, so there wasn't that awkward space of the second floor anymore, and you'll see how that works out once I put the next story on. And the side stairs now just have a lot more breathing room. So here you can see the piece by itself. Just 3 6x8 brown plates that were already included in the set, repurposed, and some gray pieces I had lying around, some tiles, all put it together. There it is. Now let's go put on the second story. As you can see, it's got that same removable wall section. I had to take off the studs right next to that orange ring so it would fit in. Not ideal, but it works. So here you can see the staircase going up to the balcony on one side, going over, little walkway here, and spiraling up the stairs that now exist to go to the third floor. And a full overhead view of the entire second story balcony, and everything just so much more spacious and makes so much more sense. I thinned out the bookshelves that were initially 3 studs wide and built them into the outside wall, making them only 2 going in 1. And I put a bunch of little objects at the top that look like stuff stored at the top of the shelf, but it's also there to support the 2 deep tiles at the top. Put this window with this little archway in the back. That fits how the top of the stairs looked in the actual movie, a lot closer than what it was. And there's Galileo because I guess Dr. Strange used the time stone and brought him here. On the top corner, I built the tiles into the details on the side to hold everything together. They just pop right off and pop right back on to hold the corners in place, very similar to how it was before. I attached all the details that I could directly to the main build for support, except these ones that are centered in the middle because they don't fit at the top. I moved the ones that used to be in the center to the side and put my new ones right in the center since there was only room for one snot piece and it needed the support at the top. As you can see, when I pop it back on, put that little corner tile at the top, it holds it right together. And now let's go on to the third floor, which is the first one that I made completely from scratch. On the underside, just a bunch of dark gray pieces holding up regular gray pieces, all pretty much plates that I didn't use with my mansion build. This little balcony segment in the original build was, again, way too wide, another 3 studs, so I narrowed it down to 2 and added these 1x3 curved pieces to fit underneath the build that was already there. It normally fits perfectly, but the technique used to reverse that mud guard added a little gap, but it still looks good. Right below it, I used that same technique of the brackets to switch the orientation of the plates. I'll probably switch these out with gray eventually. Moving on to the inside, we can see the staircase going up to this spiral staircase, and that's held together real securely with this 2x6 tile. The corner section here is the bathroom, works the same way. I put the toilet in the corner, shower on the other side, a little sink. Then we've got that same portal door feature that was in the original set, but now it makes a lot more sense being like a third bedroom door to, I guess, wherever you want to go. And only support at the top by 1 tile. It makes it a lot easier to pop off and change out if need be. So one side we have Wong's bedroom, and the little gap of space after that sliding feature ended, I incorporated a desk. On Dr. Strange's room, I also put a desk. Not much here right now, but I did incorporate in those reverse curves at the top. Now we're again in the Galileo GWP. If you watch the movie and look through the shots, you can see a lot of curves by the ceiling, so it really fits the architecture here. Here's Strange's bed, kind of looks like his cape in colors, got a little dog hair on it. I got a big fluffy dog and he sheds a lot. And here's another look at that toilet in the corner, and the shower head on the other side. All right, now for the third floor. You can see there's that monster removable piece. It's not much different other than being, again, 3 studs deeper. In the bottom, I just extended it with those 4x8 dark gray pieces and some more of those dark tan pieces on the top. In the side, I extended it with that little reverse angle piece, just extended the gray wall on the other side. The roof is wider by adding some more gray slopes because those what I had didn't have any more in that green color, but by staggering them a little bit like I did in the middle between the 2 windows, it looks like it's intentional and not just because I didn't have the right color pieces. So here we have a look inside of the top. In the actual movie, the staircase goes straight towards the circular window, but because that trapdoor piece is being used to support the window itself, I couldn't move it back any more than it already was. So what I did was I substituted the staircase to be a spiral staircase going into the side instead. And yeah, that spiral staircase is just a bunch of 4x1 tiles with the 2 studs on the side. And I took those trans orange pieces from the Avengers Tower because I wanted a little bit more in this build. All right, now for the final roof part. Again, this is almost identical as it was before, just 3 studs deeper. And there's that, just pops right in. And those are my updates to the Sanctum.